the African Development Bank and the World Bank, with the support of the Global Energy Alliance for People and Planet, the Rockefeller Foundation, as well as the Sustainable Energy for All, have this initiative of trying to provide electricity access to 300 million people by 2030. And that is why we call this initiative Mission 300. So when you hear Mission 300, it is not a mission to the moon or somewhere else. It's all about trying to address the electricity energy deficit on the continent. So, and I also wanted to say that this initiative was kickstarted by President Adesina and President A.J. Banga of the World Bank. Of course, President Adesina is of the African Development Bank. And they came together in April last year and said that we need to commit the African Development Bank and the World Bank to provide access to 300 million, electricity access to 300 million people by 2030. And since then, we have gone ahead and done two things. We are developing an energy compact for the entire 54 countries on the continent. And the idea of the energy compact is to create or to provide the global framework upon which we can be able to underpin this ambitious goal of providing electricity access to 300 million people by 2030. And this initiative is underpinned by 5 pillars. Least cost energy, electricity expansion plan. Here, what we are saying is that we need to address the issue of power generation, transmission, distribution, and supply in a most efficient manner. The second pillar is on interconnection of our power grids, because we believe that through interconnections, number one, we can be able to do larger projects that benefit from economies of scale and therefore result in lower energy tariffs. For example, you have in Tanzania here the Julius Nyerere hydropower project, which I believe is more than 2,150 megawatts. And that project can be able to be exported to a country like Malawi or to Zambia. But to be able to do that, you have to build the interconnection between Tanzania and Malawi, Tanzania and Zambia. But you are also aware that recently there has been an interconnection between Kenya and Tanzania. So that's the second aspect. The third aspect is that, if we are going to make a dent on electricity access on the continent, we will have to go beyond what we call grid extension. We believe that by 2030, more than 50% of new electricity access or new connections on the continent will be through what we call distributed renewable energy. And this is based on mini-grids and solar home systems or standalone or isolated systems. So that is the second of the pillars that we are looking at. And what we want to do is to find how we can be able to promote electricity access through those what we call distributed renewable energy. And number 3, we also understand that even with the best of intentions, public sector funding will never be able to meet the funding requirements of the energy sector. And therefore, we also do believe that we have to find ways of attracting additional private sector investments on the continent. And so the third pillar is, of course, the issue of promoting increased private sector investments in the energy sector. And number 4, we also want to be sure that we have viable power utilities. Because, at the end of the day, you expect the power sector to invest in generation, in transmission, in distribution, in supply, and also in operational maintenance of the power system. And you can't do this without viable financial utilities. As we speak today, I think I can confidently say that we have less than 5 or a handful of utilities on the continent that we can claim that are financially viable. And in this particular case, I want to say that TANESCO, your utility here in the country, has made a huge effort in improving its financial sustainability. I think in 2018, TANESCO would probably have lost about $134 million. I think 2 years ago, they made a profit of about $84 million, which means that they've been able to turn around the financial performance of the utility. And then also, the system losses in the country today, I was told by the Chief Secretary today that the system losses in Tanzania today is only 14%, which is incredible. It's incredible and very commendable. So that is the issue that we are talking about: how to make to deal with the financially viable utilities.